Captain Hune stood on the bridge of his warship, staring at the message that had just arrived. His hands trembled slightly as he read it again. The message was simple and cold. Earth had 14 days to surrender everything. Their government, their military, their freedom. All of it would belong to the Galactic Council. He was 47 years old and had spent 25 years in space. He had seen many things in his career, but nothing like this. The Council was demanding complete control over humanity. They called humans a dangerous species. Too aggressive, they said. Too violent. Earth needed to be controlled before it became a threat to the galaxy. Hyun looked at his crew. They were waiting for his response. Lieutenant Sohee, his weapons officer, met his eyes. She was young, only 32, but she had fought in every border skirmish humanity had experienced. She knew what this message meant. "Sir, what do we do?" she asked quietly. Hyun did not answer immediately. He turned back to the view screen where Earth hung like a blue jewel in the darkness. 12 billion people lived on that planet. Another 2 million were scattered across 3 colony worlds. All of them were now under threat. The Galactic Council had existed for 10,000 years. 27 alien species belonged to it. Some were made of gas and floated in clouds. Others were living crystals that thought as one mind. Some looked almost human, but with strange colors and extra limbs. All of them agreed on one thing. Earth was too dangerous to be free. Ambassador Minji had been trying to negotiate with the Council for 5 years. She had sent reports back to Earth every month, each one more worried than the last. The Council did not trust humans. They saw humanity's rapid growth and military strength as threatening. They had been watching Earth since humans first developed faster-than-light travel 15 years ago. Now the watching was over. The Council had made its decision: surrender or be destroyed. On the Council station, which orbited a neutron star far from Earth, Ambassador Minji stood before the assembled representatives. The chamber was massive, with seats arranged in circles rising up into the shadows. Each species had its own section, designed for their unique bodies. "Please," Minji said, her voice echoing in the vast space, "give us more time. Humanity only wants to live in peace. We have not attacked anyone. We have not invaded any worlds. Why are you doing this?" A voice boomed from above. It belonged to War Master Korvix of the Velkrin hegemony. His species had never lost a war in 3,000 years. They were proud warriors who believed might made right. "You have been classified as Class 7 aggressive," Korvix said. His translator turned his clicking language into words Minji could understand. "Your species builds weapons too quickly. You expand too fast. You refuse to accept limits. The Council has absorbed 143 species. All of them now live in peace under our guidance. You will be number 144. And if we refuse?" Minji asked, though she already knew the answer. "Then you will be eliminated," Korvix replied simply. "The Council maintains order in this galaxy. We have done so for 10 millennia. We will not allow one primitive species to threaten that order." Back on Earth, Admiral Deho received Minji's report. He was 61 years old with gray hair and tired eyes. He had been preparing for this day since the first contact with the Council. He had hoped it would never come, but he was not surprised. Deho called an emergency meeting with Earth's government. Leaders from every nation gathered in the underground command center. The room was tense. Everyone knew what was at stake. "They will not negotiate," Deho said. "The Council has given us 14 days. After that, they will send a fleet to force our surrender. If we resist, they will destroy us. How big is their fleet?" asked the president of the United Earth Alliance. "Intelligence suggests 300 ships," Deho replied. "Each one is larger and more powerful than anything we have. Our entire defense fleet numbers only 120 vessels. In a straight fight, we would lose. Then we surrender," someone said. "We have no choice." "There is always a choice," said a new voice. Everyone turned. Dr. Jiwon had entered the room. She was 44 years old, slim and intense with eyes that rarely blinked. She carried a data tablet. "I have something to show you," Jiwon said. "We call it Project Songbird." For the next hour, Jiwon explained what her team had been working on in secret. While the Council watched Earth's obvious military development, humanity's best scientists had been creating weapons the aliens could not detect. Quantum communication systems that worked instantly across any distance. Gravity generators that could trap ships in invisible wells. Kinetic weapons platforms disguised as space debris. "The Council thinks we are primitive," Jiwon said. "They think our technology is crude. But we think differently than they do. They use energy weapons and plasma. We use simple physics. Mass times velocity equals destruction. Our weapons do not need exotic particles. They just need to hit hard and hit fast. Admiral Deho studied the data. Slowly, he began to smile. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a man who saw a chance, however small. "Can this work?" he asked. "If we get tactical surprise, yes," Jiwan replied. "The Council has fought the same way for thousands of years. They expect everyone else to fight the same way too. We will not." The debate lasted for hours. Some argued for surrender, better to live under Council rule than die fighting. Others argued for resistance. Freedom was worth any price. Finally, they voted. The decision was close but clear. Earth would refuse the ultimatum. Admiral Deho sent the response to the Council himself. The message was short. "Humanity respectfully declines your offer. We will defend our sovereignty." The Council's reply came within hours. A fleet was already moving. 300 ships led by War Master Korvax himself. They would arrive in 10 days. They expected to fire a few warning shots and watch Earth surrender. They had done this 143 times before. Captain Hyun received his orders from Admiral Deho. They were sealed, marked top secret. When he opened them, he read carefully. Then he read them again. Finally, he keyed the ship-wide communication system. "All hands, this is the captain," he said. His voice was steady, showing none of the fear he felt inside. "Battle stations. This is not a drill. In 10 days, the Council fleet will arrive. They think we will surrender. They think we are weak. They think we are primitive. We are going to teach them something about humanity. We do not kneel. We do not surrender. And we do not go quietly into the dark. Prepare for combat." Throughout the solar system, Earth's forces began to move. Ships powered up their engines. Weapons platforms activated. Scientists worked around the clock to prepare the secret weapons. Everyone knew the odds. Everyone understood what was coming. Lieutenant Sohee approached Captain Hyun on the bridge. "Sir, can we really win this?" Hyun looked at her. He could have lied. He could have given her false hope. Instead, he told her the truth. "I do not know," he said. "But we are going to try. And even if we lose, the galaxy will remember that Earth fought back. That has to count for something." In the council chamber, Hierarch Veltoth of the Elder Species watched the human response. His kind had founded the council 10,000 years ago. They had seen countless species rise and fall. None had ever refused the council's demand. "Fascinating," Veltoth said to War Master Korvax. "They choose death over submission." "They choose nothing," Korvax replied. "We will show them that resistance is futile. The fleet will break them in hours." "Perhaps," Veltoth said thoughtfully. "But remember, Korvax, the prey that fights back is always the most dangerous." The fleet jumped to faster than light speed, heading for Earth. The war had begun. The Council fleet dropped out of faster than light travel at the edge of the solar system. 300 ships appeared in space like a storm of metal and lights. War Master Korvax stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Judgment. The ship was 3 kilometers long, covered in weapons that could crack open a moon. Korvax looked at the screen showing Earth in the distance. The planet looked peaceful. Its cities glowed on the dark side. Orbital stations floated around it, but space seemed empty. No defense fleet waited to meet them. No warning shots were fired, nothing. "Where are their ships?" asked his second officer. "Hiding," Korvax said with amusement. "They know they cannot win. Perhaps they are hoping we will show mercy." He opened a communication channel to Earth. "Humans of Earth, this is War Master Korvax of the Galactic Council. You were given a choice. You chose poorly. Surrender now and we will be merciful. Resist and we will destroy every ship, every station, every weapon you possess. You have 1 hour to respond." The response came not from Earth's government, but from Admiral Deho himself. The old admiral's face appeared on Korvax's screen. He looked calm, almost peaceful. "War Master, we gave you our answer 10 days ago. It has not changed. We will not surrender. You came here believing we are weak. You are about to learn how wrong you are." Then the screen went dark. Korvax laughed. "Brave words from a dead species. All ships advance. Prepare to demonstrate our power." The Council fleet moved forward in perfect formation. It was a sphere 50 million kilometers wide, designed to prevent ambush from any direction. They had used this formation for thousands of years. It had never failed. What Korvix did not know was that for 3 days, 40 human ships had been drifting in the darkness with all power shut down. They were covered in special materials that made them invisible to Council sensors. They looked like nothing more than space rocks. Now, as the Council fleet passed them, they began to wake up. Captain Sohi sat in the command chair of her destroyer, the Defiant. Around her, the crew worked in silence. They had been waiting in the cold and dark for 72 hours. Now it was time. All systems online, reported her tactical officer, Lieutenant Hayun. Weapons ready, quantum link established with the fleet. Fire on my command, Sohi said quietly. Hidden throughout the asteroid belt and behind moons, thousands of weapons platforms activated. They had been disguised as debris, as broken satellites, as mining equipment. The Council sensors had ignored them. That was their last mistake. The attack began without warning. Gravity wells activated across the Council formation. Invisible fields of distorted space-time grabbed 47 ships and yanked them out of position. Their shields flickered and died as the artificial gravity tore at their systems. Before the Council could react, the kinetic platforms fired. These were not energy weapons. They were not plasma or lasers. They were simple chunks of metal, accelerated to 98% of light speed. When something that heavy hits something else at that speed, shields do not matter. Physics does not care about force fields. 17 Council ships exploded in the first 30 seconds. On the Eternal Judgment, alarms screamed. Korvix stared at his screens in disbelief. Ships were dying and he could not even see what was killing them. His sensors showed nothing but debris and then massive explosions. "Return fire," he shouted. "Find those weapons." But the Council ships did not know where to shoot. The platforms looked like junk until the moment they fired, then they looked like junk again. Targeting systems could not lock onto them. Now Captain Hyun's fleet revealed itself. 48 human battlecruisers and destroyers appeared from behind Jupiter's moons. They had been hiding in the planet's shadow, their hulls coated with materials that absorbed sensor beams. The largest human ship was only 800 meters long, tiny compared to the Council's massive vessels. But they were fast. The human ships dove into the Council formation like sharks attacking a school of fish. All weapons, fire at will. Hyun commanded from the bridge of the Indomitable. Lieutenant Dongwoo, his tactical officer, coordinated the attack. Every human ship was connected through quantum communication. They did not need radio or lasers. Their computers talked to each other instantly, sharing targeting data and adjusting tactics in real time. The human fleet moved like a single organism. Missiles streaked from human ships. Each missile contained not explosives, but compressed matter that released electromagnetic pulses on impact. The Council ships were not protected against such crude attacks. Their systems overloaded and died. Korvix finally understood what was happening. The humans were not fighting like civilized species. They were fighting like primitives, using simple weapons and simple tactics. But simple did not mean ineffective. All ships formed defensive sphere, Korvix ordered. Concentrate fire on the human vessels. The Council fleet began to regroup. They still had overwhelming numbers. 300 ships against less than 50. Even with surprise on their side, the humans could not win. But Admiral Daeho had planned for this. From deeper in the solar system, Vice Admiral Yoonji's ships appeared. Another 60 vessels smaller and faster than Hyun's battlecruisers. They swarmed around the Council formation, firing missiles and kinetic rounds, then darting away before return fire could catch them. Dr. Ji-won watched the battle from her hidden command center in the asteroid belt. Screens showed her every ship, every weapon, every movement. Her quantum computer was coordinating all of it, making calculations faster than any organic mind could follow. "Admiral," she reported to Daeho. "Enemy formation is breaking. They are confused." "Now is the time," Daeho nodded. "Activate Songbird." Across the human fleet, every ship, every platform, every drone suddenly synchronized. The quantum computer calculated the perfect moment for each weapon to fire, the perfect angle for each ship to turn. For 30 seconds, humanity's entire military force operated as a single weapon. The result was devastating. 116 Council ships died in those 30 seconds. The human weapons hit them from every angle at once. Kinetic rounds struck engines. Missiles hit shield generators. The gravity wells pulled damaged ships into each other. Korvix watched his fleet dying around him. This was impossible. They were the Council. They had never lost. They could not lose to primitives. All ships retreat, he ordered. Fall back to the outer system. But retreating was not simple. The gravity wells made faster than light travel impossible within their range. Ships had to use normal engines to escape, and that took time. Time the humans used to kill more of them. The Indomitable chased 3 Council cruisers as they fled. Captain Hyun's ship was damaged, with fires burning on multiple decks, but he refused to stop. His weapons pounded the fleeing ships until they exploded. Lieutenant Sohee's Defiant had taken heavy damage too. Her ship was missing half its weapons, and life support was failing in several sections. But she kept fighting. Her crew was cold, tired, and scared, but they did not give up. One more shot, Sohee said to Lieutenant Hyun. Make it count. The Defiant fired its last kinetic round. The metal slug crossed 1,000,000 kilometers in seconds and struck a Council battleship in its reactor. The ship broke in half, spilling atmosphere and bodies into space. After 4 hours, War Master Korvix ordered a full retreat. Of the 300 ships that entered the solar system, only 184 escaped. The rest were destroyed, captured, or too damaged to move. The human losses were also severe. 15 ships destroyed, 22 damaged, over 3,000 dead. But they had won. On Earth, people watched the battle on their screens. When the Council fleet retreated, cities erupted in celebration. People danced in the streets, cried with relief, hugged strangers. They had survived, but Admiral Deho did not celebrate. He stood in his command center, looking at the casualty reports. 3,247 names. Each one was a person with a family, with dreams, with a life cut short. Admiral, his aide said carefully, the people want to hear from you. Deho nodded. He walked to the communication console and began broadcasting to Earth. My fellow humans, he said, today we won a battle. We proved that we can defend ourselves. We showed the Council that humanity will not surrender. But do not mistake this for victory in the war. The Council commands thousands of systems and millions of ships. What we faced today was a small fleet sent to intimidate us. When they realize intimidation will not work, they will send something much worse. We have perhaps 2 weeks before they return. Use this time wisely. Say goodbye to your loved ones. Prepare yourselves. The real war is about to begin. In the Council chamber, far from Earth, chaos erupted. Delegates screamed at each other in dozens of languages. Some demanded immediate, overwhelming retaliation. Others questioned whether this war was wise. A few even suggested negotiating with Earth. Hierarch Veltoth sat in silence, watching the chaos. Finally, he stood. The chamber fell silent. The humans have embarrassed us, Veltoth said. They have shown the galaxy that the Council can be defied. This cannot stand. We will send the Purge Fleet, 5,000 ships. We will erase Earth from existence and make an example that will last for another 10,000 years. Let every species see what happens to those who refuse the Council's will. The vote was swift. The news hit Earth like a physical blow. 5,000 ships. The Purge Fleet had not been used in 6,000 years. The last time the Council deployed it, an entire species was erased from existence. Their home system was now a dead zone that no one dared enter. Dr. Jiwon stood in her laboratory, surrounded by screens showing impossible calculations. She had not slept in 3 days. Her team was working on Project Horizon, humanity's last desperate plan, but the numbers were not good. We cannot match their firepower, she told Admiral Deho over a secure channel. Even with everything we have, we cannot fight 5,000 ships. Then we do not fight them, Deho replied. We changed the rules of the game. Tell me about Horizon. Jiwon pulled up the data. We captured several Council ships in the last battle. We have been studying their faster-than-light drives. The technology is different from ours, more advanced. We think we can weaponize it. Explain. Imagine a missile that can jump directly inside an enemy ship, Jiwon said. It bypasses shields, bypasses armor, appears right in their engine room or bridge. Then it detonates. We call them jump missiles. Can you build them? Yes, but there is a problem. The calculations required to jump a missile accurately are incredibly complex. We need the Council's own navigation data to make it work. Without it, the missiles might appear anywhere. They might not appear at all. We need that data. Admiral Deho was silent for a long moment. You need us to steal it. Yes, from the Council's central data archive. It is the most secure location in the galaxy. Then that is what we will do. Ambassador Minji volunteered immediately when Deho contacted her. She was still on the council station, still trying to negotiate even though she knew it was hopeless. The council wanted Earth destroyed. Nothing she said would change that. But she could help in other ways. I will need a team, she told Deho. Commander Yuna is the best we have for this kind of mission. Deho replied. She will meet you at the station in 2 days. Commander Yuna was 36 years old and had spent her entire adult life in special forces. She specialized in impossible missions. Breaking into the Council's data archive qualified. Her team was small but skilled. Specialist Taemin was a computer genius who could hack alien systems. Corporal Minho was a combat medic who could fight as well as he could heal. Technician Jisoo could repair or sabotage any technology. Together they were humanity's best chance. They arrived at the Council station disguised as a trade delegation from a species that owed humanity a favor. The Korhani were one of the few species that questioned the war against Earth. They provided false identification and cover stories. The station was enormous, a city in space that housed millions. 27 different species lived and worked there, each with their own areas. The data archive was in the most secure section, protected by 7 different security systems. Yuna's team had 48 hours. After that, their cover would break down and Council security would discover them. They split up to avoid suspicion. Ambassador Minji would create a distraction by requesting an emergency session with the Council. While she argued for peace, Yuna's team would break into the archive. But things went wrong almost immediately. A Velkrin security officer named Enforcer Thalrek noticed something odd about the Korhani delegation. Their biological scans did not quite match the records. The differences were tiny, but Thalrek had been doing this job for 30 years. He knew when something was wrong. He began following them. Specialist Taemin was the first to notice they had a tail. "We have a problem," he whispered into his communicator. "Velkrin security is watching us. Can you lose them?" Yuna asked. "Not without making it obvious we are hiding something." Yuna made a quick decision. "Split up. Taemin and Jisoo head for the archive. Minho and I will deal with our friend." Thalrek followed Taemin and Jisoo into the lower levels of the station. These were maintenance areas rarely used, perfect for what the humans needed to do, but also perfect for an ambush. "Stop," Thalrek commanded in his clicking language. His translator spoke in standard Galactic. "Identify yourselves." Jisoo turned slowly. "We are Korhani traders." "Is there a problem?" "You are not Korhani," Thalrek said. His hand moved to his weapon. "You are human." What happened next was fast and brutal. Minho appeared from a side corridor and hit Thalrek with an electric charge. The Velkrin's shields absorbed most of it, but the shock stunned him for a moment. That was all Yuna needed. She moved like water, fast and precise, striking pressure points that worked on most species. Thalrek collapsed. "He is not dead," Yuna said. "But we do not have much time. He will wake up in 20 minutes and alert everyone. Move." Taemin and Jisoo ran for the data archive while Yuna and Minho secured their escape route. The archive entrance was guarded by 3 different systems: biological scanners, quantum locks, and an artificial intelligence that could detect intrusion attempts. "This is going to be close," Taemin muttered as he worked. His fingers flew across his portable computer, sending probes into the Council's systems. The AI detected his attempts and began shutting down access points. Jisoo plugged directly into the physical hardware, bypassing the AI entirely. "I am in," she said. "Downloading now." Alarms began blaring throughout the station. "They know we are here," Yuna said over the communicator. "How much longer?" 30 seconds, Jisoo replied. Those 30 seconds felt like hours. Security doors slammed shut throughout the station. Armed guards began running toward the archive. The AI locked down systems one by one, trying to trap the intruders. Taemin's screen showed the download progress. 80%, 90%, 95%. The door behind them exploded inward. Enforcer Thalrek stood there, his weapon raised. He had woken up early and called for backup. "Download complete," Jisoo shouted. Corporal Minho stepped between Thalrek and his teammates. He raised his own weapon. "Go, I will hold them." "Minho no," Yuna shouted. "Someone has to buy you time," Minho said calmly. "Tell my family I did my duty." He fired at Thalrek, forcing the Velkrin to take cover. Plasma bolts flew back and forth. Minho was good, very good, but he was one human against a dozen Council security officers. Yuna grabbed Taemin and Jisoo and ran. Behind them, they heard Minho's weapon firing again and again, then silence. They reached their ship, hidden in a docking bay that the Korhani had arranged. Ambassador Minji was already there, having fled the council chamber when the alarms went off. "Is everyone here?" Minji asked. Yuna's face was stone. Minho did not make it. They did not have time to mourn. Council fighters were already launching. The small human ship fled the station, its engines screaming. Weapons fire chased them through space. Then Ambassador Minji did something unexpected. She opened a communication channel to the entire station. "This is Ambassador Minji of Earth. We have just stolen your navigation data. Every species in the galaxy is watching this conflict. They see the Council trying to destroy a single planet for refusing to surrender. They see you hunting us like criminals for taking information. Kill us if you want, but the data is already on Earth. You cannot stop what is coming. And every species will know that the Council fears information more than weapons." The Council fighters stopped pursuing. Thalrek stood on the station, watching the human ship escape. He could have ordered his fighters to continue the chase. But the human was right. Killing them now would only prove her point. The galaxy was watching. On Earth, Dr. Jiwan received the data. She immediately began processing it, her quantum computers working at maximum capacity. With this information, Project Horizon could work. But Admiral Deho was focused on something else. "We lost Corporal Minho," he said quietly. "He gave his life so we could have a chance. We cannot let that sacrifice be meaningless." Every factory on Earth and in the orbital stations began producing jump missiles. They worked around the clock, with millions of people contributing. Humanity had never been so united. Captain Hyun's ship, the Indomitable, was being repaired in orbit. The damage from the last battle was severe, but the crew refused to give up on her. They worked alongside the repair teams, determined to get their ship ready for the final battle. Lieutenant Sohee, now promoted to captain after her actions in the first battle, trained new crews on the destroyers being rushed to completion. Earth was building ships as fast as possible, but they would still be badly outnumbered. The days passed quickly. Too quickly. Admiral Deho gave a speech to all of humanity. "In 7 days the Purge fleet will arrive. They will try to erase us from existence, but we have something they do not understand. We have hope. We have courage, and we have the determination to fight for our freedom no matter the cost. We may not win, but we will make them remember us. We will make the galaxy remember that Earth refused to kneel." Across Earth, people prepared, not with panic but with quiet determination. Children still went to school. Adults still went to work, but everyone knew what was coming. In the asteroid belt, Dr. Jiwan finished the last calculations. 2,000 jump missiles were ready. It was not enough to destroy the entire Purge fleet, but it might be enough to hurt them badly. "The targeting systems are ready," she reported to Admiral Deho. "We can launch as soon as the Purge fleet enters the system." "Good," Deho replied, "because they just dropped out of faster-than-light travel. The Purge fleet is here." 5,000 ships appeared at the edge of the solar system like a metal wall blocking out the stars. The Purge fleet was arranged in a perfect sphere, 50 million kilometers across. Every ship had its shields raised and weapons ready. They had been designed to prevent any surprise attack. Hierarch Veltoth commanded the fleet from his massive flagship. He was old, even by his species' long-lived standards. He had seen the Purge fleet used once before, 6,000 years ago. That species had fought hard. They had lost anyway. Earth would be no different. "Begin the advance," Veltoth ordered. "Slowly, watch for their tricks." The fleet moved forward like a rising tide. The Council had learned from the first battle. They would not be caught by surprise again. Captain Hyun watched the approaching fleet on his screens. 80 human ships faced 5,000 Council vessels. The odds were impossible, but humanity had stopped believing in impossible. "All ships, hold position," Admiral Deho ordered from his command center on Earth. "Wait for my signal." The human fleet waited at the orbit of Mars. Unlike the last battle, they were not hiding. Every ship was visible, broadcasting full sensor signatures. They wanted the Council to see them. Hierarch Veltoth saw the human ships waiting. So few against so many. He almost felt pity for them. Almost. "They make their last stand at Mars," he said to his officers. "Honor their courage by making their end quick." The Purge fleet accelerated toward the human position. What Veltoth did not see was Captain Sohee's fleet. 40 ships, all equipped with advanced stealth technology. had been drifting through space for days. They were powered down, cold, invisible to Council sensors. Now they waited in the darkness like sharks beneath a calm sea. Admiral Deho counted down the seconds. The Council fleet was moving exactly as predicted. Dr. Jiwan's calculations were perfect. Everything depended on timing. Now, Deho said quietly. Dr. Jiwan activated Project Horizon, 2,000 missiles launched from hidden platforms throughout the solar system. But these were not normal missiles. They did not fly through space toward their targets. Instead, each one disappeared in a flash of light, jumping through faster than light space. They reappeared inside Council ships. The missiles bypassed shields, bypassed armor, bypassed every defense the Council possessed. They materialized in engine rooms, on bridges, and weapons bays. Then they exploded. In the first 30 seconds, 214 Council ships were destroyed from within. Explosions tore through hulls. Atmosphere vented into space. Ships broke apart or went dark as their reactors failed. Hierarch Veltoth felt his flagship shudder as 3 missiles appeared inside it. Emergency alarm screamed. He held onto his command chair as the ship shook. "Damage report," he shouted. "Engineering Section 3 is gone," his officer reported. "Shield generators offline. Weapons at 60% capacity." Around the fleet, captains screamed reports and questions. How did the missiles get through their shields? How could they defend against weapons that appeared from nowhere? All ships evasive maneuvers. Veltoth ordered. Random patterns? But it was too late. The human attack was already underway. Captain Hyun's fleet charged forward. 80 ships against nearly 5,000. But now the Council fleet was in chaos. Ships were breaking formation, trying to dodge weapons that could not be dodged. Captains were making panicked decisions without coordination. The Indomitable led the charge, its weapons firing without pause. Lieutenant Commander Dongwu coordinated targeting across the entire human fleet. The quantum communication system made every ship act as one. "Target their command ships first," Hyun ordered. "Make them blind." Kinetic rounds slammed into Council vessels. Missiles streaked through the gaps in their formation. The human ships were smaller and faster, able to dodge the massive Council weapons. Now Captain Sohee's stealth fleet revealed itself. 40 ships appeared from nowhere, right in the middle of the Council formation. They had been drifting closer while the Council was distracted. Now they were among the enemy like wolves in a flock of sheep. The Defiant fired at point-blank range into a Council battleship. The metal slugs tore through the ship's hull. Sohee's crew worked with cold efficiency, choosing targets and destroying them before moving on. "This is for everyone we lost," Sohee said quietly. But the Council fleet was beginning to recover from the shock. 5,000 ships, even in chaos, was still overwhelming force. They began to concentrate their fire on the human vessels. The first human ship to die was the destroyer Courage. A plasma lance cut through it from end to end. 53 people died instantly. Then the battlecruiser Defiance took multiple hits. Its reactor went critical. The explosion lit up space like a small sun. Captain Hyun watched his ships dying. The Indomitable was hit by a plasma bolt that burned through 3 decks. He felt the ship shudder and heard the screams of his crew over the communication system. "Damage control teams, seal those sections," he ordered. "Keep fighting." Lieutenant Commander Dongwu's station exploded, killing him instantly. Hyun grabbed the controls himself, continuing to coordinate the fleet even as his own ship was dying around him. Admiral Deho activated the final phase of his plan. Operation Samson. 12 human freighters appeared at the edge of the battle. They were old ships, barely spaceworthy, but each one had been modified with a faster-than-light drive and packed with antimatter. They were piloted by volunteers who knew they were not coming back. Captain Junho commanded the freighter Last Light. He had volunteered the moment Deho asked for pilots for a suicide mission. His wife had died in the first battle. His children were grown. He had nothing left except the chance to hurt the Council one more time. "All ships, this is Last Light," Junho broadcast to the other freighters. "It has been an honor. Tell our families we died free." The 12 freighters jumped into faster-than-light space. They reappeared in the heart of the Purge fleet and detonated. The explosions were massive beyond description. The antimatter reactions created temporary tears in space-time itself. Council ships within 1,000,000 kilometers were vaporized instantly. Others were caught in the gravity waves and torn apart. The perfect sphere formation shattered. 400 Council ships died in seconds. On Earth, people watched the explosions light up their instruments. They knew what those flashes meant. 12 volunteers had just given their lives. But those 12 had saved countless others. Hierarch Veltoth's flagship was damaged but still functional. He looked at the casualty reports in disbelief. Nearly 1,600 ships destroyed. The Purge fleet, which had never been defeated, was being torn apart by primitives. All ships retreat to the outer system, he ordered. We will bombard Earth from long range. The Council fleet began to withdraw. They were still powerful, still dangerous, but they could not maintain close combat with an enemy this unpredictable. Captain Sohi pursued the fleeing ships, firing her last missiles. The Defiant was damaged, with half its systems offline and multiple hull breaches, but she refused to stop. Captain, we are venting atmosphere, her engineer reported. We need to pull back. One more ship, Sohi said. Just one more. She locked onto a Council cruiser and fired. The kinetic round struck the cruiser's engines. The ship went dark and began drifting. Now we can pull back, Sohi said with satisfaction. The Indomitable was barely flying. Captain Hyun's bridge was a wreck of sparks and smoke. Half his crew was dead or injured, but his ship was still moving, still fighting. Sir Admiral Daeho is ordering us to retreat, his communication officer reported. Tell the Admiral we will retreat when we are dead, Hyun replied. Until then, we fight. But the battle was ending. The Council fleet withdrew to the outer solar system, out of range of Earth's weapons. They began to form a new formation, preparing to bombard the planet from safety. On Earth, Dr. Jiwon activated the planetary shield. It was a massive energy field that wrapped around the entire planet, designed using captured Council technology. It would not stop everything, but it would protect Earth from long-range bombardment. For a while, the Council fleet began firing from billions of kilometers away. Plasma lances and kinetic weapons streaked toward Earth. The shield absorbed the hits, flaring bright blue across the sky. People on the surface could see it, a protective dome of light. But Dr. Jiwon's calculations were grim. The shield will hold for 48 hours under sustained fire, she told Admiral Daeho. After that, it will collapse. Then we have 48 hours to figure out how to survive, Daeho replied. Vice Admiral Yoonji took command of the surviving human ships. Of the 120 vessels that fought, only 37 remained operational. She began organizing hit-and-run attacks on the Council siege line, trying to reduce the bombardment intensity. On the Council station, far from Earth, Ambassador Minji's broadcast had created chaos. She had revealed evidence of the elder species manipulating the Council for thousands of years. Now 12 species were demanding an emergency vote on Earth's status. The Korhani delegate, Councillor Shexta, stood before the assembly. For 10,000 years, we have followed the elder species without question. But Earth has shown us something. They fight for freedom. They fight for the right to exist on their own terms. When did we lose that right? When did we become servants instead of equals? The elder species responded by freezing the votes of dissenting species. The remnant ship hung in space like a piece of living art. Its hull seemed to flow like water, changing colors from silver to gold to deep blue. Every sensor pointed at it, but none could fully understand what they were seeing. This was technology from before the Council existed. Hierarch Veltoth stared at the vessel with something close to fear. The remnant were legends, stories told to young Council members. The architects who built the first civilizations 200,000 years ago. They were supposed to be extinct. The ship broadcast again, its message reaching every world in the galaxy. We are the remnant, last children of the architects. We built the foundations of galactic civilization. We guided the first species to the stars. We watched the Council form from those we taught. Then we watched the Council forget what we taught them. Today we break our silence. The voice was ancient and sad, like someone remembering better times. We have watched Earth's struggle. We see in humanity what we once were. Courage, determination, the refusal to surrender freedom for safety. The Council demands Earth's submission. Earth refuses. This conflict will decide more than one world's fate. It will decide what kind of galaxy we live in. Will it be a galaxy of free peoples or a galaxy ruled by fear? On Earth, people watched the broadcast in stunned silence. Admiral Daeho stood in his command center, trying to understand what this meant. Are they helping us? Someone asked. I do not know, Deho replied. But they are giving us something. They are giving us witnesses. The remnant ship continued its broadcast. We will not interfere with force. This is your conflict to resolve. But we will ensure that what happens here is seen by every species capable of understanding it. 10,000 inhabited worlds are watching right now. Whatever you do next, Hierarch Veltoth, the galaxy will remember. Veltoth felt the weight of those words. If he destroyed Earth now with the galaxy watching, the Council's authority might shatter. Species would rebel, seeing the Council as tyrants instead of peacekeepers. But if he withdrew, it would show the Council could be defied. On the Council station, Ambassador Minji seized the moment. She broadcast to the Assembly, "My people have fought for the simple right to exist freely. We never sought to conquer anyone. We never wanted war. We asked only to be left in peace. The Council chose violence. Now the galaxy watches. What will history say about this day? That the mighty Council crushed a single world because it refused to kneel? Or that the Council found wisdom and chose peace?" 23 species in the Council now openly supported Earth. The Korhani delegate stood with Minji. So did representatives from the Pelshiks and Veldrin. Others were joining them. Councillor Shexta addressed the Assembly. "The elder species tell us this is about maintaining order, but order without justice is tyranny. Earth has proven they will die before surrendering. How many more must die? And for what? So we can say the Council's will is absolute? Perhaps the Council's will should not be absolute." The elder species tried to silence the dissent, but they could not. Too many voices were speaking now. 600 Council ships in the Purge fleet suddenly withdrew from the battle. Their species had ordered them to stop fighting. Hierarch Veltoth watched his fleet shrinking. The Purge fleet now numbered barely 3,000 ships. Still overwhelming, but not invincible. And the galaxy was watching every move. On Earth, the bombardment had stopped. The shield flickered and died as Dr. Jiwon powered it down to save energy. For the first time in 2 days, Earth's sky was clear. "What are they waiting for?" Captain Hyun asked from his partially repaired ship. "They are deciding whether we are worth the cost," Admiral Deho replied. "Not the military cost, the political cost." Captain Sohee's Defiant flew alongside the Indomitable. Both ships were damaged but operational. Their crews watched the Council fleet, waiting to see what would happen next. The answer came not from battle, but from negotiation. The remnant ship contacted both Admiral Deho and Hierarch Veltoth. "We offer you both a choice. You can continue this war until one side is extinct, or you can meet aboard our vessel and find another way. The choice is yours, but choose quickly. The galaxy grows impatient." Admiral Deho did not hesitate. "We will negotiate." Hierarch Veltoth took longer to decide. Finally, he agreed. "I will meet with them. But I promise nothing." The negotiations took place aboard the remnant vessel. Admiral Deho arrived with Ambassador Minji and Dr. Jiwon. Hierarch Veltoth brought his senior commanders and the leaders of the elder species. The remnant provided a neutral space for discussion. It was a simple room with a round table, no head position, no hierarchy. For 12 hours, they argued. The Council demanded Earth accept oversight and limits on military expansion. Earth refused. Earth demanded full sovereignty and reparations for the unprovoked attack. The Council refused. Ambassador Minji spoke with passion. "You came to our system. You demanded we surrender everything. We defended ourselves. Now you say we are the problem? No, you started this war. You will not tell us how it ends." Hierarch Veltoth responded with cold logic. "The Council has maintained galactic order for 10 millennia. That order requires all species to accept Council authority. If we make an exception for Earth, dozens of other species will demand the same." "Perhaps they should," Minji replied. "Perhaps your order is the problem." The elder species representatives tried to end the negotiations several times. They wanted to return to war. But Hierarch Veltoth stopped them. He had seen something in the battle that frightened him. Humanity was willing to die rather than surrender. Eventually, they would force the Council to kill them. And the galaxy was watching. "If we exterminate Earth," Veltoth said quietly to his fellow elders, "we prove we are tyrants. Every subjugated species will see it. They will rebel. The Council will fracture. Is maintaining our authority over one species worth destroying the Council itself?" The elder species had no answer. Finally, after 12 hours, the remnant spoke. "You are at an impasse. Let us propose a solution. Earth will be recognized as a sovereign independent state, with full rights to expand and self-govern. They will be given membership in the Council as equals, not subjects. In return, Earth will agree to Council laws on warfare and will not attack Council members without provocation. That is surrender. One of the elder species protested. We give them everything they want. No, the remnant replied. You give them what they deserve, freedom, what you should have offered from the beginning. Admiral Deho looked at his team. Minji nodded. Dr. Jiwon nodded. He turned back to Veltoth. We accept, Deho said. If the Council recognizes our sovereignty truly, we will join as partners, not subjects. Hierarch Veltoth looked at his commanders. Some wanted to refuse to continue fighting, but others looked tired. Tired of war, tired of losses, tired of fighting an enemy that would not break. I accept, Veltoth said finally. But the Council will be restructured. Other species will demand independence now. You have broken the old order. Perhaps it needed breaking, Minji said softly. The Treaty of Seoul was signed aboard the remnant vessel. 200 species sent representatives to witness it. The terms were clear. Earth was recognized as fully sovereign. All Council forces would withdraw from human space immediately. Earth would gain full Council membership with voting rights. The Council would pay reparations for starting the war. Earth would keep all military technology and forces. In return, Earth agreed to Council laws regarding warfare and peaceful expansion. They would not attack Council members without cause. They would cooperate on mutual threats. Most importantly, the Council would be restructured. Any species could request independence hearings. The elder species would no longer have absolute authority. The Council would become what it claimed to be, an alliance of equals. The cost of the war was staggering. Earth lost 47,832 military personnel. 38 warships were destroyed. 51 more were heavily damaged. 12 billion humans had lived under siege. 3 colony worlds were raided with 10,000 civilian deaths. The Council lost over 1,600 ships and millions of personnel. More importantly, they lost their reputation of invincibility. Dozens of species began demanding independence within weeks of the treaty. Captain Hyun was promoted to admiral and given command of rebuilding the fleet. His first order was to create a memorial for every person who died in the war. A ring of lights around Earth, each one representing a life given for freedom. Captain Sohee became the youngest vice admiral in human history. She was put in charge of training new officers. She made sure every cadet learned the names of those who died, especially Corporal Minho, who gave his life stealing the data that won the war. Ambassador Minji became Earth's Secretary of Galactic Affairs. She spent her time helping other species petition for independence, teaching them what Earth had learned. Dr. Jiwon continued her research, now collaborating with scientists from dozens of species. She discovered that the Council had been deliberately keeping client species at lower technology levels. This information sparked outrage across the galaxy. Admiral Deho retired after the treaty was signed. His final speech to humanity was simple. We survived because we remembered what matters. Freedom is not free. It requires sacrifice. As we move into this new era, never forget what we paid to be here.